everybody out there to entrepreneur, financial advisor, the great Kevin Smith is back on with us to discuss financial literacy. The last time he was on the podcast, he was discussing something is known as the M factor. And we want to give him a chance to continue uh, what he was talking about because obviously we were at a press for time or something of that nature. But today we have all the time in the world for him to finish off where he left off concerning the M factor. And I want to give him the floor. Go ahead, Mr. Smith. What else did you want us to know about the M factor?
Okay, thank you, Coy. Good to be back so that we can continue to expand upon my concept, the M factor. But I want to digress for a moment and say this. The M factor is also sort of a brand handle for me.
Okay.
I go by, I'm known as M. It's a part of my name. But because of my finance background, I'm familiar with the money supply, which is an M factor. So it revolves around money. I'm oriented to financial matters, industries, and concepts, and the M factor is more broadly to encompass all of that. But when I want what I want people to understand is the following: the M factor is like a multiplier. So the multiplier is how can we multiply our numbers collectively for our community. We often talk about patronizing black-owned businesses, and the truth of the matter is that's a hard road. Here's why I say that: it's a
Hold on.
hard
Hold that.
road.
Can you hold that point? Can you just move your camera up just a little bit because you're almost at the top of the thing. Just up a little bit, like a little higher.
Okay.
Not closer, but look. There you go. There you go. Now you're in the middle
Okay.
because your head was almost at the top. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you could barely see the your whole face. There we go. I just
Sure.
want everybody to see all of you. That's all.
Yeah. So uh, the M factor is what we're trying. It's a concept. It's a mindset, and to come together collectively and multiply and leverage what we have as an aggregate. We have numbers, okay? We have numbers. I just came into an understanding that our numbers may be greater than what is statistically, what the data suggests. I think a lot of data suggests that our population in the US is around 40 million or so. I believe it's closer to 50 million. But there's some things that are going on politically that maybe you can speak to later, not on this particular broadcast, but later as maybe you dig into this a little bit more and and see what the outcomes are. But we have collectively we do our family reunions. This has always bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
We have family reunions, so our aggregate numbers, we come together and celebrate uh, family, loved ones, etc. And many of our families now are what we call the older generation. That would include people that are older than I am. Okay, they're they have they're diminishing in numbers, and so the family reunion itself may disappear from the fabric of our communities. But again, we have family reunions and we celebrate social things and the emotional kind of wave of what the family has meant to us collectively and individually. But we very rarely talk about economics. And that's a travesty. That's a travesty. We should not come together in such a way that economics is not a part of what we're speaking to, we're trying to address. So think of it this way: multiplier effect, the M factor. The M factor is the multiplier effect. The M factor is the M factor is connecting dots where they haven't been connected before, creating concepts, ideas, and ways of leveraging and muscling our way to a more profound economic positions.
Okay. So it sounds like you're saying we have numbers in our family. There are people, if we put the effort forward, there are ways for us to basically help ourselves financially and
Mhm.
using the numbers that are in our family and collectively coming together to come up with a financial pathway that frees us up from having to depend on any other entity. Is that what
Well,
you're getting at?
absolutely. See, here's the thing: we give more credence to resources um, that are not our own, if you will. We have our own resources. We're just not leveraging them. We're not we're not using them or recalibrating them in ways that could be more beneficial to us. Family reunion. Uh, there should be an economic pool. For instance, I'll give you an idea. Yeah, all of these ideas are very simple. They're very simple. They don't require a lot to put together. But I'll give you uh, an I a sort of an idea. If I'm riding in a car, I think I said this before on your platform. If I'm riding in a car and I'm on the passenger side, I'm going to see that street one way. Something's going to strike me in a way that maybe that particular street didn't strike me in terms of what's there, what possibilities are there, what thoughts are evoked and emotions are that are evoked in me because of my position in the vehicle. But if I shift my position to the driver's side, then that changes. So now certain other emotions are evoked, and I see the street in a different way and connect things that I didn't connect while I was in the passenger side. You can take that and expound on it and say I'm riding a bike down the street, I'm walking the street, ex, you know, and so forth and so on. So what I'm saying is, family reunions should have a family trust,
Hmm.
and every member of the family should contribute something in terms of resources, as in money. Uh, we can we probably carry life insurance. If we don't, we should have, and we can designate a portion of that life insurance to the family trust. Then from there, the micro families outside of the micro family, they would catch on to the concept and create a trust for themselves. How do you then extrapolating a little further out? You can leverage those. In other words, the family has a trust, the larger family, the broader family has a trust. Then the individual families within the broader family have a trust. They can come together and say, look, hey, here's a project that we should move on. Here's some property we should move on. Those sorts of things. Let's put this money aggregately in an investment vehicle and let it grow.
Hmm.
You
I
follow
think
me?
the best way to do that, yeah, I absolutely agree
So
with you on that.
so the
Go ahead.
so the money, the M factor is a mindset, it's a concept development that's leveraging the aggregate numbers of our community in a numerous ways. We should not have just one way that we go about this, and there are multiple ways that we can go about this. And I will expound upon those ways with concepts, ideas that I believe will resonate with the community abroad, individuals who will take it back to their families, and so forth.
Okay. I think the one thing that I think that resonates with me that I think the viewers out there can easily uh make it part of their goal is a look at an investment property. You know, like if everybody in the family, inside of this trust puts, let's say, $100 in, let's say $300 in, let's say $1,000 in, over time though, to where it does build up to us a considerable amount, and let's say it's $25,000 now in there, you could literally take that 25,000, get a property, and then guys could essentially rent it out, get it paid off. You're able to what are you able to do? You're able to get another property after that property is paid off. So you're basically essentially flipping your money over and over again, but the family as a whole benefits from it. You see what I
Correct,
mean?
but it also starts to build a cohesiveness in the family that doesn't exist a bit aside from emotions. Emotions is, oh, that's my cousin, I love him. Yeah, but how
Mhm.
often do you collaborate with your cousin on financial matters? Okay, you sometimes you have find people that are, for instance, I'm a part of a family, of course, and uh, in spite of my credentials, my lifelong career experience, etc. And I've run into other people who are similarly to me, who have tried to broach these types of subject matters with their families. And there's something that there's a disconnect in terms of the necessity of it. You know, somehow we just don't believe, or we're okay individually, and that's what matters to them the most.
And I think another thing, if I could just jump in real quick, I think a lot of times in our, just to be quite honest, because I have a family as well, in our cultures, we're looking at, well, I'm struggling. Well, I'm struggling here. I'm struggling. How am I going to put aside this money towards this thing with the family? I might not trust so and so's going to put in his part. Even though you just do your part and let everything work itself out, it's a lot of, like you said about emotions and, well, that's my cousin. I love him, but it's also sometimes bad emotions towards other family members to where you don't feel like comfortable putting your money in with other people in the family's money because you don't think that they're probably going to continually do like you're going to do. So it's almost like, well, let me see what he's going to do. Well, he gonna
Well,
do it, and I'm gonna
here,
do it.
no, no, no,
But he
no.
gonna do it, and I'm
Well,
gonna do it. When it should just
here's
be, hold on.
that could
But
that
when it
could
should, hold on. But when it should just be, let's be committed to doing our part and see the way it will grow. In my opinion, go ahead, you take over.
okay. Well, Coy, I can appreciate what you just said. However, what I would say to that is this: it's about it's about the infrastructure, the documentation, etc., the guidelines, uh, and the uh, sort of the covenants or bylaws of the trust.
Okay.
You
Okay.
can root those things out. Okay, you don't benefit from the trust unless you contribute it. Okay, you may be a
Okay.
family member, but you don't benefit unless you contribute it. You don't have a say so unless you've contributed. uh, and so forth and so on. So just like anything, it's a contract, it's a covenant between the family members, and when you may not be able to identify and address everything that might be a problem, but as it comes, you just you drop back, punt, and and recreate, incorporate other language to address whatever those things are that you didn't foresee going in, but you do see now. So there's a way to deal with this stuff. It's not all about somebody giving an argument verbally about this or that. No, it's about what's documented, what's in writing, and we have to conduct ourselves in that manner. I can tell you this because of my consulting experience. I know that a lot of uh, businesses don't are not properly uh, structured. They don't have the proper registration structure. In other words, you may see a business that says they're an LLC, but ask them what is a corporate manual. Ask them, did they even issue themselves a certificate of ownership in the company that they formed? You will find that many of them are not even properly structured. So you can't be an LLC, and there's something called piercing the corporate veil. If you're not properly structured and somebody decides to sue you, they can also come after your personal assets. But a lot of people say, oh, I'm an LLC. They can't do anything to me. Oh, yes, they can. They still can because there's some other things that you have not addressed. I guarantee you, I could pick out any number of companies that are registered with the state of Florida with an LLC or an INC, etc., and ask them 3 or 4 questions, and I'm going to get a no response. And I guarantee it's probably about 80% of them. And if it's 80% as an aggregate, all in terms of no matter who they are, then let's go with the notion that in many of our instances in our community, that percentage is probably equivalent or higher. I've run into them. I, I I've run into them, and I start off by asking them those questions to see if they're properly structured, perfected in their in their LLC registration and INC incorporation.
Hmm. Wow. I mean, you really broke that down for me, you know. When I hear it at face value about the M factor, I'm thinking, well, a lot of people that's probably gonna be, not wanting to do their part, but at the end of the day, the people that don't want to necessarily do their part, well, then they don't benefit from the grand scheme of it all. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. And then once they
That
miss
makes
out
sense.
on, once they see that they're missing out on the opportunity, they will they will either abandon it completely or they'll fall in line.
That's true.
One
That's
is
true.
they won't be able to say that it's not a correct move. They just won't be able to say it. They won't have an argument against it. Yeah, guess what? We lend amongst family members sometimes. A few $100s. I lend you this, I lend you that. That's not helping him. That's not really helping anybody. Sometimes we do transactions. We'll talk about what we should be doing in our community. I'll give you an example of something else. Here's an M factor.
Okay.
I said, when we have our sporting events and we go to our HBCU games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's an M factor. of course, there's commerce that's going on. You know, the food truck vendors, the concession vendors, the ticket sales, the paraphernalia sales, etc. Uh, those sorts of things. And then there's some contributions that are being displayed. You know, institutions giving out money to the HBCU, but they're not giving out many money for entrepreneurship, are they? So here's the M factor. An announcement is made at the stadium. There will be, or no, actually, while they're in the stands at halftime or any other appropriate time that this could fit into, you go around and collect whatever someone wants to give while they're there for entrepreneurial development. Guess what? You follow me? You got 10,
Mm-hmm.
10 or 12 games, right? And you do that at each game. Everybody's got some change or a dollar or two in their pocket, usually. And that money is solely for that purpose only. Maybe what you've done is you've vetted a few business ideas who have presented themselves to be the benefactors of those funds. In other words, annually you have people present their business concepts, and then you put them uh, in a in a in a bucket, if you will, to receive those funds to support their businesses, to move to further ex- develop their businesses. See, that's the
What?
aggregate. That's the aggregate and the M factor and the multiplier effect at work.
Right.
See, there's
But
a
when you
number
say,
of different. Pardon me.
well, okay, I'm sorry. I was gonna have a question about the stadium. You're saying, but you would have to have a considerable amount of people to go throughout the stadium to collect those funds, correct?
Yeah,
Because
but
if you're in the
you you are
60,000
you're already prepared for this. This is not this is not an uh,
firm of the moment
spare of the moment impromptu uh, behavior. No, this is a concerted purpose effort.
effort,
Thank you for that.
right? Yeah, it's all right. So basically, what you're saying is, if you were to have that concerted mindset and go to the football stadium, and let's say at halftime, take up a make a get with the PA announcer and say, hey, could you make this announcement? For entrepreneurial development or whatnot. Take the funds from that, and you're saying put it exactly where towards your
Okay,
entrepreneurial
right.
aspirations
In
or
other words,
towards your family or
here's what
towards
I'm
the
saying.
family trust.
Well, no, no, no. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying the institution itself can expand what they do in terms of their presence in the community. The HBCU itself. Do you know that there are colleges and universities who actually own businesses?
Mhm.
Okay, and this the concept is not foreign. There's some HBCUs who own businesses. But wouldn't it be wonderful that if the HBCU decided to do that, to initiate that type of initiative that I just spoke of, and help establish or strengthen businesses in our community, and look at the concepts and see how they would uh, they're needed in the fabric of our communities to make our community stronger. Look how many opportunities you have to do that. I mean, you got a 12-game season. I don't know how much money you can. Let's say the ones that are identified, their concepts, They split the pool at the end of the season. The money's collected, aggregated, held, held for the entire season, and then the announcement is made. Uh, Five businesses split the aggregate dollar amount, and you promote those businesses. You promote those businesses during that period. They get a chance to talk about their businesses, what their concepts are, what the vision is, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, so all right, hold on. So I don't forget this. I think I think where it can get confusing is when you're talking about from a family aspect, and then
Mhm.
from an entrepreneurial development aspect. But the one remaining denominator is the M factor. So meaning that you can apply the M factor to on a family level to create financial freedom, as well as on an individual level to create entrepreneurial development. Am I gathering that together? Am
Yes,
I
and
gathering that right?
also uh, the having the community, the institutions of the community contribute to this movement. Again, M factor. You follow me?
Yes.
Now, here's what I'm saying is the M factor can find its way into a lot of different spaces
Yeah.
to
I just gave
aggregate,
two examples. Right. Okay. Go
to
ahead. Go ahead.
aggregate, to aggregate our community on an economic level. I started out earlier saying that we talk about this. There's this concept or notion about money circulating in various communities multiple times. And in our community, it circulates maybe one or two times, maybe three. You know, there are different suggestions of what that number is. But in other communities, the money circulates at least 12 times before it leaves the community or greater. Sometimes that happens. One, it's a commitment. That's first, okay? Uh, but it's also a presence, meaning this: we don't have enough places in place to capture the dollars. We need a larger, more robust entrepreneurial community throughout the country. So if we have multiple stores, you're likely to catch my dollar more. You follow me? We
Mm-hmm.
got to get to that level. Having one store in one place is not never going to achieve us circulating our dollars. And here's the other thing. If you're in the way, if you're in the way, the presence of these businesses across different industry sectors, if you're in the way, I don't have to think about patronizing you. You're in the way. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your presence, your footprint is in the way. So I'm gonna come across you. Okay, you're on the north side, the south side, and the east side. You're in the way. So no matter what, if I need a dry cleaner and you're in the way, there's one on the. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a brand, if you will. I, there's a lot of other concepts. There's some other ideas I have even on that level. So those there. Here's an M factor, and I'm not saying it's not being practiced, but we need to bring these ideas to the surface. A lot of sometimes we might be practicing them, but people are keeping it to themselves. That's not going to raise our community. That's not going to raise it to where we need to be. Uh, some people think money is scarce. It's not. It's not. Think about it. You got billionaires out here that buy yachts for $350 million. That means they can give 350 people $1 million. I mean, 350 million people, $1 million. That's one person. Then they service that yacht by paying spending 70, $80 million a year just to service it and staff it. But we behave like the money is scarce. And we don't leverage it properly. We're not leveraging it properly.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Maybe I'll be a little bit of a contrarian here, but a lot of people, when you say we feel like money's scarce, well, a lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people are unbeknownst to them, no fault of their own, they're losing their jobs. So to those people, money is scarce. Money is quite scarce because a lot of federal workers, I'm just calling for what it is. A lot of federal workers I know have not gotten paid. So they're trying to figure out how they're going to pay their rent. So it is a quite literal scarcity when it comes to if you're not getting money coming into your home, that is a scarcity. That is a real
Uh,
life. I don't think we should. I'm just being. I don't think we should sweep that under the rug as if that's not something that's happening right
well,
now.
what here's what
Now, if you said before this time, yes, I could agree wholeheartedly with everybody. But I'm saying there are like hundreds of thousands of people that have been put out of work, or they may be working, but they're not even getting paid. So it's kind of everybody's kind of in different boats. But I do agree with you. I'll say this though, but I do agree with you though that if you are not in that position, if you are not in a position where you're looking at where you're going to get your next meal at because you have not gotten paid, then and you are getting money coming in every week and things are coming in, there are ways around to make your situation work for yourself. So I do agree with you there.
well, Coy, I'm a contrarian as well. In fact, I received a certificate from a cohort, my college cohort, that voted me most contrarian.
Oh man.
Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that.
Okay.
Uh, so what you just said in the general context and conversation, that works, but the M factor would suggest the mindset of the person, the family, etc. You have to start looking at other ways, and it's not always a job. If it's not available, you need to find another way. Am I correct?
Point taken.
Exactly. You just can't say, well, I don't have a job, so my money. No, well, people, st- in spite of those sets of circumstances, I guarantee you, many of them are still spending a few dollars on frivolous stuff that they could aggregate with others to build an economic base.
So what you're
It
saying,
does.
yep,
Go ahead.
go ahead,
It
go
do,
ahead.
it
No, I'm
doesn't
sorry, I'm
ta-
sorry, to continue.
it doesn't take a lot. It just takes an aggregate effort. Individually, it may not take a lot for you to contribute, but if you leverage the numbers, say the M factor is gonna be a paradigm shift. A lot of people are speaking to this. Um, I'm lending my voice to it to promote some other ideas and ways of the aggregate at work and how it can be uh, the application and how it can be applied in different ways, different sectors of our community that are already in existence but we're not leveraging them. I just gave you one about the HBCUs collecting money for entrepreneurs
Development.
on
Okay.
a whim. If you got 15,000 people in a stadium, and if you just got $1 from them each, that's 15 grand from one game.
But that's on a perfect day as well, because very unlikely 15,000 people are going to give $1. I'm just saying,
No,
very
no, no,
unlikely.
no. No. Well, it doesn't matter, Coy. Think of it in these terms. Before the idea or the concept, and before it was acted upon, what did you have? Nothing.
I agree.
You just stepped up. Even if it's only $5,000, that's that was $5,000 from zero prior to this conversation.
Yeah. No, you know, I just play a little devil's advocate, but no, I understand the overall concept, the general concept that you are trying to, get out. I definitely get it. But some people in the crowd are gonna say, yeah, but I mean, if all 15,000 people ain't gonna give $1, I mean, what's the point? But no, the point is that you had zero before that. You had zero. So I just threw that out there because I know that somebody in the background is saying, well, what about, that ain't the way you're supposed to have the mindset. The mindset is not supposed to be towards, well, you're not gonna get $1 from everybody. The mindset should be, I started with zero and I'm gonna come away a lot more than I came in with. That's for sure.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying, but I gotta, with us having this platform and whether it's two people watching, whether it's 25 people watching, whether it's 100 people watching, somebody is going to think to themselves, "Well, wait, like, what's the point?" So you gotta at least say what they'll probably be saying it to you, because I know where you're coming from. But at the same time, I also know that nothing from nothing leaves nothing. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So when you come from nothing, your mindset should be on attaining something. So if you got the mindset to attain something, it will grow and grow into something even bigger. I think that's the big takeaway from the M factor that I have got from. But listen, so guys, here at Coy Talks Life and Politics, I do talk a lot of politics, but I also do talk a lot of life, meaning things that go on within your life. Financial literacy. Mr. Kevin Smith is here front and center and giving you guys the knowledge. He's going to be on here a lot more. We're gonna try to share some things with you guys to just go a little bit more in depth on the concepts that he's talking about, and we can't wait to get back with you guys. It has been a pleasure to be with Mr. Smith today, and for him to afford us his time, his effort, his energy to basically make open our eyes and open our horizon on things that can be even better. Anything else you wanted to say, Mr. Smith, before we got out of
A-
here?
Yes, absolutely. I
Good.
see a comment here, and here's what I would ask those persons who are commenting, and particularly the negative ones, that speak when you've earned the right to do so, and only if you can contribute to the conversation. So instead of just saying, "Bro, stop wasting this man's time," like, and I'm talking nonsense, then you add to the conversation and give us the sense we need.
I seen that earlier. Yeah, I seen that a lot earlier. I said, you know what? I don't know if I'll speak to it. I'll maybe Unc will speak to it because I know we talked about this the last time we were on. We had a lot of negative comments that had nothing to do with what we were talking about on the last time. So it wasn't like it was sensitive to what we were speaking on to where you could give it some credence. No, it was just being negative and just trying to, I guess, be a provocateur with our live feed. But I mean, the ignorance is
Well,
amazing out there to me.
I don't even want. I'm not even trying to. I'm not even trying to address that part. I'm
Oh, okay.
saying if you believe that what I'm saying it has no value, then give us something. Apparently, you seem to think that you can determine what's valuable and what's not. So then you give us something as a part of this discourse, conversation, and discussion.
Because really this is encouragement, this is aspirational, this is different options, this is providing a lot of different things to people that they don't have people talking to them concerning these things, so I welcome it on my channel. That's what I say, you will be a reoccurring guest on my channel when I am talking about life, because financial literacy and finances definitely deals with how the way and how much better your life can be and will be at the end of the day. So I want to say thank you again for coming on. Thank you again for your time. Hey guys out there, I will be back on with Mr. Smith. Hopefully, by the hopefully by the end of the week, I'll get with him on his time and when he's available. But yes, we will be on very soon again. But we have to get some things in order to provide you guys the best content we possibly can. All right, so that does it here at Koi Talks Life Politics and Mr. Smith, financial advisor and entrepreneur, saying, see you guys. Take care.